Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of the MGM Story, 1,705 films described in colour and black and white. This goes from 1924 all the way through to 1974. There's 400 pages. Now this book cost me £1.50. I was looking online, you can find copies obviously ranging from £1.50 all the way up to whatever. And you can see on the back obviously loads and loads. Now, there has been a few versions of this. Obviously, I can just see Tom and Jerry, of course, Rooney, and many others. Let's go through the book itself. It is a massive, thick, chunky book. Love lots of these films. Many of them I haven't seen for years, but certainly many probably turn up quite regularly on TV. Obviously, The Silence from 1924, 1925, etc. Probably not so often. But of course, there's all the Blu-rays, DVDs, 4Ks, etc. of certainly some of them. I assume most of the films in here probably exist, but I never know. That's quite a few of those old films, sadly, are long gone. But this book is absolutely amazing. Tons and tons of information. And you can see there from 1924. Now, there were a few films earlier, but it was slightly done differently. Obviously, there was different studios. They all joined to become MGM. And you've got, obviously, some... And they carried on with some of them as well, of course. And also they used them again. They used bits and pieces from lots of the films. So many of the stories turn up. And again, Singing in the Rain, of course. Later on, Singing in the Rain with Gene Kelly. And you've got lovely little pictures for many of the films. I assume, and I haven't checked every single film, but I think all of them, there's one little picture. Some are obviously slightly smaller than others. Some are fairly sized. Obviously, Buster Keaton there. And you've got there, Rose Marie. Now, some of these films I'm not familiar with at all. They're just vague names, if I even recall them at all. The Enemy. That's 1927. Garbo Ascends, it says there. But it does give a lot of detail about the films. Now, it doesn't give particularly vast amounts of... it doesn't give the times, length and all those sort of things. But it still does give, or where the studio, sort of where it was filmed and all those sort of information that most people probably sometimes are interested in. But certainly, there you can see it does include a lot of detail. Synopsis mainly, as well as obviously some of the actors. Obviously not every single actor. Some of these actors, I have no idea who they are. Who is that? Well, Loretta Young. Should know who Loretta Young is. And also apparently Dave, I don't know, Laugh Clown, it says there. Obviously Greta Garbo there. And also on to some more. Billy the Kid. Oh, right. MGM's first big Western talkie. Of course, we're into talkies now, 1930s, and you of course got there. Again, not certain that turns up that regularly on TV. Maybe it does. There's, of course, MGM channels, and there's various other channels that show old films. Sadly, the BBC doesn't show as many old films as they used to. When you go look through all the various ones in the 60s and 70s, there used to be hundreds of films that would regularly show. Now, many of them, I think it's just they show the same old ones quite often. Maybe I'm wrong on that, being unfair to the BBC. But still, you've also got there Washington Masquerade, Lionel Barrymore. He was very good, I must admit, Lionel Barrymore. And then Tighter Times, 1933. Now, what film's that? Hell Below, apparently. And also got this one, Biography of a Bachelor Girl, I must admit. Producer Thalberg, director of Thalberg, director Griffiths. So it does give sometimes some of the information about the various people. And then you've got the Harlow and Marx. So you've got films there. And you've got more and more. It's page after page after page. Obviously, 1,705. Not going to describe every single one. Colour creeps on 1940s. So this one you're going into Strike Up the Band. You've got Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland, of course. And Garson and Rooney. I was going to say Garland and Rooney, but of course it says there something slightly different. Somewhere I'll Find You. Obviously Clark Gable, Lana Turner. Of course now we're getting into obviously the war years as well. And of course the films I'm certain were quite changing. Now I don't know how many MGM did of war films, but obviously they had lots of like sort of comedies and sort of dance ones and those sort of things. They were obviously, there's a few, of course Lassie as well. Got their Weekend at the Waldorf, Son of Lassie. There was hundreds of Lassie films. They've probably got lots of. And also, there's another one there. Obviously, this one, The Yearling. Not particularly familiar with that one. Obviously, got Big Picture for it. Obviously, they thought a lot of that film. But one I must admit I'm not familiar with. Three Godfathers, The Secret Land. Won MGM an Academy Award for Best Documentary of 1948. I can't say I've ever seen it. Secret Land. probably very good, but I don't know. Oh, this obviously looks a very film noirish Asphalt Jungle there. I assume that's the Asphalt Jungle. I love him. I love film noirs. So obviously I don't think MGM were really into film noirs. There were lots done by some of the other studios, but you've got some, obviously Rock Around the Clock. Obviously things were changing there. The Blackboard Jungle, as it says, the opposite sex, and obviously things are definitely changing. You can see most of the pictures in this book are black and white, even though it does say colour. In fact, actually, when you flick through it, the actual pictures are, as far as I can see, black and white. So it's slightly obviously confusing. Obviously the films themselves were in colour and black and white. That's what it meant. It just means, gives a suggestion that you're thinking, maybe it's in black and white and colour. But it's not. And you can obviously see Elvis Presley there. And this one you've got Looking for Love, The Golden Arrow. And of course getting into the 1960s. My favourite period films, 1960s and 1970s. Loved those. The Spy with My Face. The Gunfighters at Casa Grande, and I don't know where that was. Produced in Spain. They produced lots and lots in Spain, all down there. Obviously looked like westerns, like local sort of Texas or whatever, but it was Spain instead. And you of course got there loads of other. That one, The Legend of Lila Claire. I'm not familiar with. The Extraordinary Seaman, The Scorpio Letters, and so on. Loads and loads of films. Many that I must admit I have not watched for years, if I've ever actually watched some of these. Mad Dogs and Englishmen. Oh, okay. It was a documentary. Another documentary. Amazing. Oh, The Chandelier, The Catalogue. Oh, that was a good film. Yeah, I enjoyed that. And so on. You can see this book is packed on. Certainly if you want to find... Oh, I'm turning around and say there's no colour. They completely got that wrong. There was some colour. Right at the back. That's it. A few pages of colour at the back. So we're talking 1 or 2 pages of colour there, you can see there, as well as a few more black and white as well on the same pages. But wow, what an amazing book. And you can see all the lists of all the various films and various people obviously involved in the films as well. So Bud Abbott as well, Budge, what's that? And Buckle Down Windsock, Brandon Dorothy, and so on. Loads and loads of the actors, producers, directors, etc. This book is absolutely packed with information about MGM. Of course, there are, I say, other ones. There's Universal, I think. There's a Paramount one. There's a few others of this sort of style, this sort of size as well, showing lots, if not all of the films